Hi, this is Bishop John Francis from Rack City Church, and I'm with my wife, co-pastor Penny Francis. And we want to talk to you about our concerns about what the government has done concerning reopening the church. What did we find out, Penny?
Well, basically, the government is saying that we can reopen for individual prayer from the 15th of June, but any communally-led prayer, worship, devotion, services, evening song, Juma, Kirtan, whatever faith you might be, that's not going to be possible at this stage. And the government's talking about continuing to work with the Places of Worship Task Force. And I was wondering whether we really were reflected on that, just because of what they're saying we can do, individual prayer. From the 15th of June. So when I went on the website, I wanted to see who was on the task force, because it just seemed a bit strange.
Because that's our concern, right?
Yeah. So when I was looking at the task force, it says there's the Archbishop of Canterbury, which is Church of England, Cardinal Vincent Nichols, which is Roman Catholic. There's a representative for the Muslim Hebrew, so Muslim congregations, Hebrew or British Jews, Sikhs, and then a faith, Daniel Singleton of the Faith Action Group, which is more like a social action for communities and different areas of the community. So it just didn't seem like a true reflection or a true representation of all faiths of the UK, and yet they're saying that they had discussions with all the major faiths. Now, I know that there were some preliminary conversations that took place where it seems that more were invited, but they have not been allowed or not been invited to sit on this place of worship task force. When I was
because people think we know about what's going on, and
they were saying we can open up, and we're saying no, we haven't been given
because we've had people saying, oh great, we're going back to church, and they don't understand. I mean, we've been working on some stuff about risk assessment and trying to
we're looking at our strategy, exit, entry, social distancing, cleaning,
and it's quite complicated.
There's deep cleaning that needs to take place. There's just so much that has to be done for the safety of our congregation.
That's right.
So it's not just a simple thing about going back into our churches. And the other thing that I found out as well is that when I was looking at who was on the Places of Worship Task Force, then I'm not seeing any Methodists, I'm not seeing Baptists. So it just seems, and there's a lot of other faith organisations that I'm not seeing represented. Especially when we've got umbrella groups that actually bring our faiths together. So these umbrella groups, even those who...
Because we pay dues to these organisations that speak on our behalf.
And we do. So we know that these organisations are happy to represent us. But when we reached out and asked questions, they said that they had some conversations, but not been allowed on the task force. So, for instance, Churches Together in England, that's CTE, that's like 50 member major churches in the UK. That's hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands of congregants. I know that Paul Goodliff, from what we understand, he wrote a letter. I don't think he's heard anything back yet. And I think that could have been over 2 weeks ago. And even with CTBI, that's Churches Together in Britain and Ireland, they're not represented. Or even the IFN, which is the Interfaith Network, they represent 9 major faiths across the UK. So there's definitely an imbalance. And I understand that even Harriet Crabtree, who's the executive director of the IFN, hasn't, or she's also raised concerns. So, we're excited that church is going to, or faith groups or religious organisations going to reopen, but we wanted the task force that's making these decisions about our congregations, about our faiths, that they are actually a true, that Places of Worship Task Force is a true representation. So if it's Lord Greenhalgh, who's the Minister of State, I understand that he was involved with this decision. And also the Right Honourable Robert Jenrick, who's the Community Secretary, who's chairing this task force. They need to invite like the representatives from at least from CTE, CTBI and IFN, at least, because IFN Interfaith Network. They need to invite these individuals who head up these organisations, so that we can at least know that someone is speaking about how we do worship, whether it's us or any other faith, and it is being considered when we're making decisions about these phased reopenings.
Well, there you go. This is just a snippet of the things that we're concerned about. And I need you all that is listening to share. All pastors, even send it to your pastor, because you know what? We need to be heard. This is discrimination. This keeps happening to us. They make decisions, government rather, make decisions and leave us out of it. And you know, we're one of the fastest growing in terms of numbers.
From a Pentecostal church point of view, whether it's Pentecostal, charismatic, evangelicals, some of the fastest growing churches in the UK, but we are not seeing the true representation of that on that Places of Worship Task Force. So what we're really saying is that it needs to be a true representation, and there needs to be proper conversation and dialogue so that we know that our concerns about how we pray or how we worship or how we come together, that is being taken into consideration in these phased reopening decisions.